Question 22, Don says, and it seems that the square upon which the entity sits, which is almost totally black, is a representation of the material illusion, and the white cat is guarding the right-hand path, which is now separated in experience from the left. Would Ra comment on that observation? Here's something to be corrected. Ra says, "Oh student, your sight almost sees that which was intended. However, the polarities need no guardians. What then, O student, needs the guard?" And again, I think the problem is on Don, obviously, when he says that the white cat is guarding the right-hand path. I wouldn't say, well, neither right or left needs guarding. The cat represents something different inside of us. Remember, all of these archetypes, all of them, please don't believe that they are things within you, right? That they're doing certain things. It's just how the mind processes the illusion, especially third density, which is what we're talking about. Archetypical mind is third density. So how does the mind process reality? And how is reality feeding the mind for polarization? That's key, because reality is the material illusion. What we call reality is what we're experiencing, and what we're experiencing is an illusion. Again, I believe all of you are mature enough that I don't have, and when I say mature, I mean spiritually mature, to understand that the illusion doesn't mean a deceit by some higher entities or the evil god or the impersonator, that kind of stuff. Sometimes I bump into these interpretations of the illusion, and I have to try my best to show that illusion only means playfulness of experience. That's it. Just like a dream is an illusion, imagination is an illusion, and yet it is an experience. So yeah, that's what it's representing. And that which we're processing, then the white cat represents something that I'll get to it, because Ra is going to mention it. But I mentioned it already in the last session, not last episode, but session 94, when we discussed this cat, which doesn't look like a cat to me, looks like a mouse or a rat, I'm not sure. Who drew this? I don't know. But yeah, this cat is not guarding polarities. That's why Ra says polarities need no guardians. But what is the cat guarding? Well, Don gives it another shot and says in question 23, "What I meant to say was that the entity is guarded along the right-hand path once it is chosen from effects of the material illusion that are of a negative polarity." Would Ra comment on that? And now Ra says, "This is an accurate perception of our intent, O student. We may note that the great cat guards in direct proportion to the purity of the manifestations of intention and the purity of inner work done along this path." So this is it. This is the beauty of the protection, the inner protection, which I again appropriately titled this video. I believe we're going to still talk more about this, but let me give it a yes, we're still going to talk more about this, but let me give it a shot at this first to prepare the landscape. When we choose the right-hand path, there is remember, Ra actually mentioned this and said that the logos in its design for this experience of third density reality has biases towards kindness, and actually plays a sort of guidepost to show that the right-hand path is the most efficient. Ra recently mentioned this in our series I don't know if it was in the 90s sessions or in the 80s, but it was very recent. And that bias is to see the right-hand path as more efficient. Well, it so happens that when you choose the right-hand path and you start to move in that direction, then you have greater and greater protection to what Don and Ra are saying that is negative catalyst. Is it right? Left-hand path catalyst. What do they say? They say negative polarity, right? Effects of the material illusion that are negative polarity. So this is easy to see. Okay, once you become aware of the right-hand path of unity, this is what I see in most people. Most people are simply attracted to the first recognition out of the confusion, because there is an initial confusion out there that we are separate. We're separate beings, and I need to preserve myself, and all the other problems are generated by the notion, the belief that we are separate beings. Okay. What really triggers the seeker is that we are all one. I yet don't feel it, but we are all one. And that is such a great calling, right? So at the basis of the seeker, there is the notion that we are all one, and I have experiences that have proven that to me. So I'm going to devote my life to the path of unity, the positive path. The more you get into this path, the more you are shielded by, or you're shielded off the negative interactions, or the negative is always, the negative path is always trying to seduce you into separation. This is why Ra says that what the great cat guards is in direct proportion to the purity of the manifestations of intention and the purity of inner work done along this path, which shows that the more you are doing this inner work towards the positive path, in other words, the more you are living this law of one, the more you are living from unity consciousness, which is really what I can compact it in one term, unity consciousness. The more you are living from there, the easier it is for you to dismiss those things that are not true or that would affect you otherwise. And so you build up a sort of resistance, wouldn't be the word, but permeability probably, because you're not resisting the negative. That's a very important point that I always make, and I said it in the last episode or last session. Last session I think it was, where I talked about there's no need to resist the negative or defend yourself against negative entities. It's an immature, granted, sure, for some people I'm not criticizing or judging, it's just that it's an immature approach. I know it because I've done it, where I feel that I need to defend myself, from negative entities. I am this light being, and those are shadow beings, See how absurd this is? Imagine a beam of light saying, I'm fighting darkness. You're not. I mean, you can play that game if you want, but all you're doing is illuminating that which didn't have anything before. It's you. You're illuminating yourself. So are you fighting yourself? That's the thing. You see how there is still a degree of separation there when people say, and I often find this, I'm battling this through, I'm in the astral planes fighting against demons and that kind of stuff. I mean, sure, maybe that's the interpretation that some people have, and I guess that's fine. But some people take it very serious, and they say enemies are surrounding us, it becomes a little paranoid. And I'm not for any of that nonsense. And when I say nonsense, again, I'm not judging. Everything can be taken like that. But I'm saying that it's not true. That's not really what's happening. You're not fighting yourself. You wake up from that fighting yourself to realize that, oh, okay, Everything is fine. I don't need to put up a defense or anything. So again, the manifestation of intention and the purity of inner work are the two things, right, that increases this sort of permeability, I would say. So things are passing through. So when an insult used to offend you and you would get all worked up and possibly even get to, a fist fight, well, that insult now just, you regard it as, I understand your frustration or your madness. I'm here for you, and we begin to see this as a sort of permeability, I would say, not defense. More to say about this. Don says in question 24, from that statement I interpret the following meaning, that if the experience of the mind has sufficiently chosen the right-hand path, as total purity is approached in choosing of the right-hand path, then total imperviousness from the effect of the left-hand catalyst is also approached. Is this correct? Ra says, this is exquisitely perceptive. The seeker which has purely chosen the service to others path shall certainly not have a variant apparent incarnational experience. There is no outward shelter in your illusion from the gusts, flurries, and blizzards of quick and cruel catalyst. However, to the pure, all that is encountered speaks of the love and the light of the one infinite creator. The cruelest blow is seen with an ambience of challenges offered and opportunities to come. Thusly, the great pitch of light is held high above such an one, so that all interpretation may be seen to be protected by light. Very symbolic, everything that Ra is saying here. Again, Don is bringing it to the absolute perception of liberation, and says that the experience of the mind, once it has chosen the right-hand path and approach purity, right, then it would be totally impervious to the effects of left-hand catalysts, or, in essence, invitations to separation, invitations to anger, invitations to negative emotions, everything negative, everything that is under the umbrella of negative behaviors. Well, obviously, this is true. The more positive you are, the less room there is for negativity. In polarization, we see this. You're 51%, great, you graduated, but you have another 49%. Are you going to do it here, or are you going to wait for fourth density? Well, it so happens that we don't have a meter for this. So we can only speculate that it's about negative thoughts that you have and negative behaviors and all of this. So, well, we enter purification process, Buddhists, Christians, Sufis, they're all on this path, always looking what can be ameliorated from these negative behaviors that we simply have. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We bought into the illusion. So what? We're cleaning it now that we are aware. Like I said in my analogy, you get into your room and you finally realize after months that you haven't cleaned it and it's all a mess, and you say, all right, well, fine. There's nothing wrong. I don't need to burn the room. I don't need to defend myself against unorganized piles of clothes and shoes and whatever it is. No, I just need to put myself to work and organize things. So, yes, you become sort of impervious over time, and that speaks of a higher percentage of polarity. To me, I'm not putting words on Ra's mouth, but that's how I see it. This is why Ra says, okay, the seeker which has purely chosen the service to others path shall certainly have no apparent variety in the incarnational experience. Of course, everything that it will see Actually, this is beautiful. It means that, I mean, you're not going to be able to. I mean, catalyst is still going to happen, right? It's not like you're going to immaculate yourself somehow and you're not going to face catalyst. It's just that the catalyst that you face is going to be processed, like they say, right? To the pure, all that is encountered speaks of the love and the light of the one infinite creator. So the more you begin to polarize, the more you're going to see that love. And like I said in the example of somebody insulting you and you used to be offended by it and get into a fist fight, now you don't get into a fist fight, but you begin to, you continue to be offended by it, right? So yes, that is how it works. And of course, the more you become clear about this, the more you're going to see these opportunities to show up. That's why they say, thusly the great pitch of light is held high above such an one, so that all interpretation may be seen to be protected by light. It's beautiful. Even the cruelest blows are seen as an ambience of challenges offer and opportunities to come. So yes, it's a beautiful way to understand this path.